Ayush. Obviously, he pulled out due to injury or what have you. But I mean, do you think he should fight for the belt? I personally feel he should get a title shot. I mean, what else does he have to do?
I mean, at this point, if he doesn't get a title shot, it's almost like a slap in the face. He's handled everything that's came up against him. Yep. He's taken and not just he just beat them. He's handled them. It reminds me very similar of the way that I can't get his name off the top of my head right now. But the way man.
Is it Habib? Habib?
Yes, Khabib.
All right.
The way that he came up. He was very, very quiet. It was very, very, they kind of kept him kind of bottled in. And then it was like, what else are you going to do, man? Let the man have his title shot. He had his title shot and it was dominance from there. And this dude has really set himself up for the same type of, process. I mean, it's there. It's no doubt. You see it every single time he steps in the octagon. He's there. He finishes his opponents. He's prepared. And that's one of the biggest things that I always see about him. He's focused. He's prepared. He has a game plan. He executes. And it's very quick. He takes care of his people, man.
Oh my God, absolutely. And when you compare Habib to Makhachev, I like that comparison you made because it makes a lot of sense. It's actually really true. I didn't even think of that. The fact that Habib early in his career was the same. He was getting criticized for being too boring. He was just fighting just to win only, not really trying to finish anybody. And then at the end of his reign towards the title shot and then winning the title, he started finishing people more and more and more. So I definitely see Islam on the same trajectory. How do you see him doing in a title fight? I mean, at 155, I mean, I see him beating Oliveira right now. I see him beating any of those guys.
I was just gonna say, I see him doing the same thing he's been doing, and that's the problem. It's just like, I'm putting him on the same level of Usman, a Khabib, Izzy. Because at this time, it's undeniable what he's done so far. It's not like we're talking about a slouch, a slouched out division. We're not talking about, a division that has people that we're like, oh yeah, he beat him. What up, Big James?
Shout out to Big James. Thanks for watching, brother.
But I just think that at the end of the day, with him, I'm just gonna go to the greats, man, the GSPs, and at this point, because that's where he's setting himself up to be. And I think that's one of the reasons why he hasn't had a title shot yet. Because once he gets that title shot, that division's capped. You got to go through him now. So I think that they're also trying to capitalize as much as possible on as many key matchups as they can before it's like, well, the 155 division sold up. Because it really looks that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, completely agree with you. And again, just comparing him to Habib again, I feel Islam actually has superior striking to what Habib showcased in the octagon. And I feel obviously the grappling is very similar. If you listen to interviews of from AKA, if you listen to interviews from the head coach there and Daniel Cormier and different people that are involved, Javier Mendez, the head coach, they all say in detail that over the years, the only person at every weight class that trained in that gym that could slightly challenge Habib or beat him in grappling was Islam. He was the only guy who could ever win around here and there against Habib. So it just goes to show you they've really bred him and built him up the right way and helped him mature the right way. And I feel that his striking I feel he's more exciting than what Habib's striking was. Habib was very limited.
Well,
he had very basic boxing.
But
And
the thing about
kicks.
Habib is that he had that brick. It wasn't about him being exciting with his hands. It was about him being the end all with his hands. You know what I mean? So if he catches you, you take a pillow with you while you fall. So you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like we've said, he's training with him. It's very similar to even how the UFC kind of did Khabib when he was coming up. Like I said, they were very quiet. They were very kept him under the radar, even though people were like, dude, this dude is killing it.
Yeah, this guy's good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then once he had that title shot, that division was a wrap. It was a wrap.
Oh, yeah.
It was a wrap. And that's what got, at the end of the day, that's what Conor got frustrated. You know what I mean? That's what led to the bust. That's what led to all that stuff. Because, man, ain't no denying him.
No,
and I think we're seeing another one right in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, and just his demeanor, everything about Islam Makhachev, he's completely coming in for business and business only. I love seeing that. The concentration in his face, the focus when he was walking out to fight Bobby Green. He's just one of those fighters where it doesn't matter if he has a change of opponent. A lot of high-level professionals, they'll pull out. But guys like him, it doesn't even matter who it is. The game plan will change. He'll still be doing the exact same thing he always does. And it's just completely dominate you.
So Dos Anjos fights this weekend, right?
Yep.
So if Dos Anjos loses, who is really next? I mean, there's not a lot of people anywhere in the same caliber right now to me as Islam. There's not a lot of other exciting fights to be made that don't, I mean, title wise, that make sense more than Islam.
I mean, let's break it down. Like the top 5 guys. I mean, for example, Oliveira versus Islam. I think Islam beats him quite comfortably. Islam versus Dustin Poirier. I love Dustin Poirier, but
I would love to see that though.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Out of 2 you just named, I would love to see Dustin Poirier.
Yeah. But and who Michael Chandler, for example, again, I see Islam completely shutting his wrestling out, and Chandler striking. Yeah, he'd have no chance. Sadly, I love Chandler. I think he's brilliant. Yeah, he's got no chin. He's got no chance against a guy like
Islam.
Islam, yeah. So, and also we've also got Justin Gaethje. Now I see him having more of a chance. I see him having more, but I still see him getting dominated. Yeah,
but see, and then that's the thing about. I like that you used the word him still getting dominated, because at the end of the day, his style is what's gonna make him have more of an advantage than those other guys that we named.
Yeah.
But in the same manner, his style is what's gonna get him in trouble against Islam as well. And so it's a give or take. I mean, there's not, you have to give it to him. Period. I mean, because you're really going to expose, because this is also what's going to happen if you don't. He's going to beat everybody that's left in the division. And then he's going to get the title shot. And then what are you going to
do? Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do? He's literally already fought everybody. And it's much better for him to have the belt and then go through all the contenders. I completely agree. They're just rinsing him out a bit too much. 10-fight winning streak. I mean, come on, UFC. Give him a title shot. He's not as marketable. He's not as marketable as a Habib or anybody else. He doesn't talk too much. But give him an opportunity. Let him prove to us what he's always wanted to prove. But yeah, so just move on to the next.
Real quick, let's welcome to Pride to the show.
Oh yeah.
I just real quick before we move on, do you feel the same way about Islam as we do?
Look, I ain't trying to be that dude. I love Islam Makhachev. This guy's a bona fide killer. But we got to pump the brakes. Let's just keep it a stack here. We got to pump the brakes. And the reason I say that is this: look, can we pretend like Charles Oliveira ain't a scrub? I'm just waiting for
No,
that point. Because listen,
no.
I understand what you're talking about the wrestling. On the feet, who's better, Charles or Islam?
I'd say Islam.
It's not Islam. Really? Wow. Yeah.
I think he's more versatile. The thing about Oliveira is he only did. I mean, if you watch Oliveira's early fights in the UFC, he's literally got no striking. He's only developed that the last 5 to 6 years. So he's really honed his skills with his Muay Thai and his boxing. But Islam Makhachev is far more versatile with striking. He's got Taekwondo, he's got Muay Thai, he's got boxing, he's got really, really good clinching against the fence and dirty boxing. I just see Islam striking a couple levels above an Oliveira, who's only really developed his striking to get to this level the past 5 kind of years.
Yeah, I think Oliveira is just a little bit more dressing, a little bit more flash.
Crazy.
No,
For real?
listen.
Charles. I'm being the corner by myself.
Listen. Again, I love Oliveira. That's one of my favorite fighters to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But the same thing with Khabib, who I compared him to. Khabib wasn't exciting with his hands, but he laid bricks on you. I think,
don't get it twisted. Khabib's wrestling was second to none. Like, you can make an argument he's one of the best wrestlers. Forget the division, but in the UFC history, like, you can make an argument like his wrestling was top tier. You know what I mean? But
him and GSP,
Islam, go ahead.
Him and GSP.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Honestly, the only other if you want to tell me who has the best wrestling, if it's not Khabib, I'll take GSP. I have no problem with that. But outside of that, like me, I love Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen, like Chael Sonnen is not in that conversation to me anyway. But I mean, in terms of like all time, it's got to be one of those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, as dominant. Yeah, especially the dominance with the grappling, 100%. Even the older guys back in the day, like Matt Hughes and people like that, they were very dominant with the wrestling, but not quite the same way as GSP or Khabib. I completely agree. Those two are just on a level of their own when it comes to dominating with just wrestling.
Agreed.
But yeah, Pride, thanks for your opinion on that. I do, honestly, I have a lot of respect for Oliveira. I love his story. I love where he's came from. I love his development in the game, how much he's improved over the years. Because if you look at his record in the UFC at the start of his career, it was something crazy. He had way more losses than wins, and he wasn't really a guy that they were touting to do anything in the sport. So that's his own perseverance, his own resilience. So it just goes to show you, you know, the character he has as a man.
So maybe that's why I'm kind of putting him in high regards. Because if you look at Charles, his career is the tale of two different careers. It kind of reminds me a little bit like Robbie Lawler, right? Where like your first stint, like in the beginning, you kind of looked a little off, and then all of a sudden, for some unknown reason, you not only get it together, but all of a sudden you become this world-class competitor. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just being blinded, but you know. But then again, Charles Oliveira, he's got a nice smile, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's just a sucker for his pearly whites.
Yeah, you know what? He's a very likable guy. Let's just say that he's a very likable guy because how honourable he is. But yeah, we're just going to segue on to the next topic. So we're going to talk a little bit now, boys. I want to ask you guys about the Bellator event that just passed by in Dublin, Ireland. Mousasi versus Vanderford. Now, I know the whole event was absolutely spectacular, but I just want to start with the main event. What do you guys feel about Mousasi and that performance against such a dangerous fighter in Vanderford?
I honestly expected it.
That bad though?
No.
That bad?
No. No. Not that bad. I mean, no. If you say that you were expecting it that bad, you're lying.
Right. Yeah.
But bro, I was expecting it. I was expecting to win. We're waiting for you too, Scotty. I was expecting to win, but God, where does that put him now?
See, that's the question I want to pose to you, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. that has to, in the world, he's got to be top 3. I don't think there's any way you can look anybody in the face that understands mixed martial arts and say Gegard Mousasi is not top 3 in the world. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me, but
I agree.
Man.
I think his confidence levels are at all-time high. He's so confident in his skills. He really understands what he has to go in there and do. He's able to capitalize on every single opportunity in there. He doesn't waste 1 inch. If you've seen against Vanderford, the second Mousasi stepped it up, just slightly stepped up a level, Vanderford couldn't hang in there with him at all. And the shot that wobbled him, it wasn't that hard of even a hook.
It wasn't a power punch. It wasn't meant to be.
No, it wasn't. And it just wobbled him completely. And then the way Mousasi went in for the kill, that's experience. I mean, come on. He just completely emptied the tank. Just literally went for him.
Yeah, that was a wolf.
Let me ask y'all guys a question, because I slept on this, right? Because I saw it, right? I saw it live. And when I saw it, I had one question in my head. I'm scared to answer this question. Right here, right now, Gegard Mousasi, Israel Adesanya, who wins? I've never in my life had such trouble. I've never in my life had such trouble answering a question. If Gegard Mousasi says, I'm tired of Bellator, and goes to the UFC, who wins?
That's a great fight. You go first, Jay.
And who?
Israel.
And Izzy. Because they're in the same division.
I just wanted to hear you ask again. I just wanted to make sure.
That just gets me excited. It probably will never happen, but it gets me excited.
Izzy.
Izzy?
Yes. The reason why, bro, I've listened to a lot and watched a lot of Izzy in between fights, in between rounds, talking to like Dana, talking to like his coaches, and Izzy's so freaking calm. I've yet to see Izzy even flustered.
But like, bro, Gegard could be the guy to fluster him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But I don't think just because he gets flustered one time, he's gonna lose.
That's a good point. You're right. You're right, because for all we know, when he gets flustered, it could tap into some primal instinct where all of a sudden he gets better. Like we really won't know.
And that's the thing. Izzy's so good, and I think the best fighters that I fought were the best at that time. That I can't just say, "Oh man, I like Gegard so much that he's gonna come over here and he's gonna whoop Izzy." I just can't fix my list to say.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Who comes in heavier? Who's a heavier guy naturally?
Probably Gegard.
Yeah, he probably cuts down from a bit more. So, in my opinion, judging by when Israel fought Blachowicz, he ran out of energy, and obviously Blachowicz was a lot bigger than him. It was a weight division above.
Yeah,
but I feel Gegard would kind of have that same strength advantage because he's the bigger guy too that cuts down. Because Gegard could be a light heavyweight easily. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But he makes that middleweight cut effortlessly. It's crazy how he makes that cut. Like usually when you see a guy drop like that, they look like they're dying. Like remember when Conor fought at featherweight, I think it was, he looked like he was on his doorstep. It was brutal. But Gegard looks like he can cut the weight. Like Gegard, in my opinion, the way his body is, he'd be the perfect 2-division champion. Because he like for middleweight and light heavyweight, because he handles middleweight easily. But to your point, like he can go up to light heavyweight. So it's just wild how his body can handle it.
Yeah, and I see the striking advantage is definitely Israel's advantage, but I feel if Gegard is able to control Israel on the ground, I see him doing similar to what Blachowicz done. But on the other hand, I also see Israel being too quick and his footwork being too elusive for Gegard. It's a fascinating fight, though. Fascinating fight.
And that's the thing about Izzy that makes it such a wild card, no matter who I put in the ring with Izzy. Because, like, again, I've never seen Izzy fighters what I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And see the card in general. Obviously, Mousasi had a fantastic win in the first round. A brilliant performance. Everybody was loving it. I don't know if you guys caught the whole show, and I don't really even want to go into all the fights. But what I want to ask you guys is, it's more about the atmosphere and the overall show. You know, the energy of the show. I mean, that arena was absolutely just bouncing with energy. And if you compare it to the UFC event that was on the day after, it's night and day difference in terms of the quality of the show. I mean, I think Bellator beat UFC 10-8 that weekend anyway, 100% when it came to the overall show, overall event. What did you guys feel about the event if you caught the whole show?
I didn't catch the whole show. I was in and out. I caught a lot of it. But I'll tell you this, and I felt this way for the past, to be honest, it's been a minute. Bellator has more enjoyable shows. Bellator puts on a last 4 to 5 months has put on a better product. And I'm gonna tell you something else. I think this situation with everybody getting on Dana about the way he's taking care of his fighters is starting to bleed into the show he's putting on.
Yep.
I really think that we're starting to see. I mean, there's absolutely no way we pretend that the Ngannou didn't happen. We can't pretend that Ngannou's is not going on right now.
Oh yeah,
you're right.
And
go ahead.
You know, no, I don't want to be long-winded. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because I want to finish up because you might end up touching up on the point that I'm gonna make. So,
well, I mean, it's with anything. It's with any job out there in the world. If you're not compensating your employees correctly, you're not going to get the most out of them.
Yep.
And we're talking about people that are signing up to walk in an octagon and get their face smashed in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. 100%. I don't know whose dog was barking in the background, but
go ahead,
somebody's dog.
Go ahead, Pride.
So here's what I'm thinking. So I don't think it has anything to do with really the payment, because we gotta remember something. Like the UFC, it's still young. You know what I mean? Like the problem that we're having is, yes, it's more exciting than boxing, but here's the thing. Like even though it's more exciting, we gotta remember this is still young. You know what I mean? Like there are still commissions. Like it took to 2016 for it to be in New York, and it took Conor, that whole Conor mania. It took that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it took that for it to, you know what I mean? For people to kind of look at it. So I just think that's really what's going on. But in terms of what you said about the Bellator, I've felt this way for a while. Bellator events, I don't care what anyone says, they're bangers.
Yeah.
They, like, if you watch a Bellator event, I don't care what no one says. If you say Bellator is not fun, you just don't watch it. That's really all it comes down to. Bellator is bang, and it's just because if you think about it, I don't remember the last time. I remember the last time I ever saw in Bellator a dude try to win by scorecard.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. Like their goal is to go out there and say, "Yo, I'm better than you. I'll finish you." Yeah, like that's their goal. Like their goal is to be like, "Yo, I'm trying to finish you. I don't want
100%.
no if." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like. So, like, my thing with, and again, maybe it's just me, but when you have something like that, when you have guys who want to win, and it's not just like, you know, I'm not going to, you know, do like the wrestling thing and just sleep on the, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep. Absolutely.
You know what
It
I mean?
seems like
like
they've got more incentive. It seems like they get paid better. It seems like they get treated better. It seems like they're respected more if they win or lose. So I feel they don't have that anxiety to go out there, and if they don't win, really, really good. If they don't get a first round knockout, they don't feel like they're going to get cut. So I feel that makes fighters more comfortable and able to perform better. So I completely agree with you. Bellator have really stepped their game up the last couple of years, and they're a huge threat to the UFC, I feel. What do you think the next 5 to 10 years, or even 5 years, who do you see being the top dog?
So in terms of top dog, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Bellator can somehow supersede, surpass the UFC. And it really comes out listen, Bellator, we need to give Scott Coker credit. I understand Strikeforce went down, but when he went and did the match, when he did all that stuff, let's think about it. When he did all that stuff in Ireland, right? Every single fight had an Irish fighter. On every single fight, there was an Irish fighter. So it's when you have a guy like Scott Coker who understands I'm going to Dublin, and when I go there, I need to make sure that if it's on the prelims, if it's the opening fight, no matter where you are on the card, we need to put someone who's, if I'm not mistaken, the only fight who didn't have it was the main event, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean? But again, that's kind of different because since it's for the title, everyone's already excited about that, But now you start thinking they had a kid debut. Think about this. They had a debut in Bellator, right? In Ireland, and the dude won. These dudes was going crazy. Combine that with the fact that Conor McGregor pulled up, something that I kind of let this sink in. Would you ever see a Bellator fighter go to a UFC pay-per-view? And would you ever see the UFC actually pun and say, "Oh my God, look, this dude's in Bellator"?
Oh no, never. They would never do that.
They would never. Bellator doesn't care. They're like, "Look, bro, I don't care who you work for. You could be Dana White for all I care. If you're here, guess what? We're not gonna hide from it." And I just think that also is kind of makes Bellator a little different because for me, when I watch it, it's different, but it's a good different. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like Bellator is a little more authentic. You know what I mean? Because they come up and tell you, "Look, this is who's fighting. They just trying to beat the bricks off each other." And then they sell you, you know what I mean? They sell you the fight based on their talent. They don't have to make a fake storyline or something like that. You know what I mean? They don't got to make a storyline. It's like, yo, these two guys, they want to fight. Let's see what happens if we put them in a situation where they can't fight. So, Bellator, listen, Bellator is going up, and what I love about it, Bellator is not concerning themselves with rivaling the UFC. They're not wasting their time with that.
They're not bothered.
Yeah. They're we don't care what you got going on. We're doing our own thing, and we're going from there. So, Bellator is doing good things, and I'm telling you, it's a very, very entertaining product.
I think a lot of it is to do with Scott Coker and how people respect him. He's got a very good name in the sport. I feel because he's a true martial artist himself. I feel that's why he knows how to treat fighters and get the respect. So I completely agree with you. I'm a massive UFC fan. Been watching it since I was a little child, but I'm not gonna lie. I prefer Scott Coker as a president of an organization to Dana White. I think Scott Coker is a lot better, and I actually enjoy watching him and his shows more than I like watching the commercialized version of the UFC today, because the UFC's became way too commercial. And also, Bellator actually has more money than the UFC now, because Bellator is owned by Viacom, the Paramount company, which they actually have a lot more money than Endeavor do. Endeavor don't have as much money as them. So it's a real battle. So I think the next 5 years is going to tell us a lot about who's going to control this industry, who's going to be at the top. But fascinating stuff. But
definitely,
I just want to move on to the next topic, brother. And I just want to see, what is your opinion on UFC 272's main event, MASDIVAL versus Covington? Man. What's your initial thoughts on that one?
So I'm going to give you my initial thought. This is the first time in a long time that I can remember that a a UFC pay-per-view main event has almost zero luster to it. Unless you're a Colby Covington fan or a Jorge Masvidal fan, I don't mean to be rude, but let's be honest, who cares? And the reason I say that is because after this fight, where do they go? Like I heard you guys mention earlier, RDS, right? Rafael Dos Anjos. If he loses, then that means Islam has a super highway to the championship, right? He's basically gonna be the next guy to face Oliveira. However, if he wins, then the next logical fight would be Islam and RDS for the #1 contendership, right?
Mm-hmm.
Colby Covington lost to Kamaru Usman twice. There is, and there's no controversy, nothing. He lost both. Jorge Masvidal lost to Kamaru Usman twice. The first time he took it on short notice, and he told Dana after the fight, "You give me 6 weeks, I'm beating this guy." Gets a rematch, gets knocked out.
Gets knocked out cold, yeah.
And let's be honest, prior to that, Kamaru Usman was piecing up Jorge Masvidal. And Street Jesus, I love him. But we also got to be, he was getting pieced up, which is baffling because he's a better boxer than Kamaru. His technique is better than Kamaru. And Kamaru was like, LOL, you would have thought. And my man hit him with a 3-piece, no biscuit, because my guy's like, you already gasping, you ain't got no water, so you ain't choking on this Popeye's biscuit. So it's kind of this is the fight that should have happened, to be honest, last year. Because if this happened last year, the hype for it would have been better. The sad part about it is, where do both guys go? They can't go anywhere because both of you guys lost to the champ. So it's not like, I mean, I can imagine Colby Covington say, yeah, Marty Fake Newsman, I need another shot. Like, I can see him doing that. But realistically speaking, it doesn't really, like, you can't really say that. You kind of got to start over. You know what I mean?
I mean, we're almost at the point of recycle for Izzy. You know what I mean? Like, Izzy's whooped everyone.
You mean Usman?
Usman. Usman's whooped everyone.
Yeah, he's too dominant right now. He's too good. He's in his prime. No one can touch him.
Right. And so
there's something actually. I'm gonna let you go, Jay. You say he's in his prime. There's actually something I kind of want to talk to you about because I want to say something and it sounds crazy at first, but when you actually think about it, it won't sound as crazy. But go ahead, Jay.
I was actually waiting for you to say it.
Oh, for real? All right, so matter of fact, I'll throw it out there right now. I'll throw it out there. I believe we will never in our life see Kamaru Usman's prime. I think it will go down as never seen his prime, and I'm going to tell you why.
I'm already on to you. Go ahead and finish.
Because think about this. This is a dude his best ability is wrestling. Somehow gets better at wrestling. How you do that, I don't know. Give me the secret because I need to get better at life, right? So you're supposedly a phenomenal wrestler. You get better. My dude's stand-up game, every time you see him fight, gets better. His patience gets better. His IQ, shot selection, angles, everything, footwork, it gets better. I think the Kamaru Usman will be at his final form when the dude just stops fighting because you can't get any better.
And you know what?
Am I bugging for saying that?
No, because you're on to something. Like, I don't think that they push him. Like, I don't think Usman's been pushed to his limits. I don't think, like seriously, there's a lot. You're right. The
only guy that's came close to not beating him, but giving him a 50-50 fight was Covington. Usman won when they fought each other the first time. That was
Colby, pure heart.
That's pure heart, and Colby pushed him back. Colby was pressuring Kamaru, and Kamaru really showed his heart. He really showed what he's made of, And I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying with that. I don't think we're going to see anybody who can really push him. Maybe some Dagestani guy that's not showed up yet, a welterweight, perhaps. Maybe there's a smaller version of Francis Ngannou out there, a welterweight Ngannou type guy from Cameroon. I don't know. But in America and around Europe and currently in the game, yeah, there isn't many people who can really push Usman. He's just so dominant and he's just so mentally strong, you know. He's one of those guys where he's a very special athlete, very, very special athlete. And I don't see anybody beating him anytime soon, to be honest.
Yeah, I just think like when whoever beats him, I think it'll be a situation where Kamaru just gets bored and then he starts kind of feeling himself, and then he loses, and it's like, oh,
kind of like
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he just kind of leaves his chin out there or something. Now,
I mean, he's already showing it. Oh, sorry, Jay. I just quickly wanted to say he's already showed a lot of interest in boxing. Like, I mean, he wants to box Canelo. Do you know what I mean? Usman, you gotta love that. He's up for it. He's up for anything. You know, he's up for jumping into boxing.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Go fight a different boxer first. Don't run over straight to Canelo.
Yeah, don't fight Canelo.
Don't do that. No, but first of all, Pride, I heard you before I hop back on. I heard you. I love seeing this Covington and MASDIVAL. This is going to be one of my favorite fights, you know, probably of the year. Yeah. They hate each other. They hate each other's guts. They hate each other's guts. And they used to be friends.
I don't
very
think that
personal.
Because I don't think it'll be a bad fight. It's just usually when I see a main event, my thing is there's kind of stakes because, you know, the loser is going to have to go one route and then the winner has to go another.
I'll tell you where the loser's going. This is his route. Yeah, exactly. The loser's this is his route out. Because you're right in the aspect of he loses here. There's not Covington can hang around. Like we've seen, I'll use the Chael Sonnen. I'll use Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen hung around a lot longer than what he really should have.
Bad guy.
Chael Sonnen, you know what I'm saying? But Chael Sonnen, when he was done, he had about 5 more fights.
Yeah,
and he was already done.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Overeem, I think, is one of those guys who he had a resurgence, but I thought he was done at one point, and he kind of had a few fights that he just looked very off, and then all of a sudden he had a spark again. But I just think that that's who it's gonna be if Covington loses, or you know, it's gonna be one of those type of things. Now for the winner, he could be a setup man. You know, he's not quite the closer, but you got to have a silver medalist if you're giving out a gold.
So you're talking about this guy will be like the Michael Bisping before he took that short fight notice and ended up winning the championship. We're talking about a gatekeeper. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Listen, I did not think of it that way, but I mean the winner versus what's his name, Chimaev.
Yeah. That's a good. But again, you gotta, bro. What is left in this division?
You got to start making stars. Yeah, you got to start making stars at this point, bro. Because, yo, UFC gets so desperate, Dana White about to hit me up and be like, hey, yo, do me a favor, dog. Last 30 seconds of Kamaru. Because it's getting bad in that division.
It's nothing. There's nothing left to really go and say, hey, this fight right here, Usman versus this guy.
I think the only person is Chimaev, in all honesty. I think that's really the only... Because, you know, he's new.
I was just going to say because he's new.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
that's about it.
The UFC's starting to push him kind of hard. Like, hey,
they got to.
Yeah, they're like, hey,
everybody else. Yeah.
They're like remember Islam? This is the welterweight version of him, yo. Like, check it out.
And if they're smart, you know what I mean? Like if they're smart, if they get somebody else in there that they actually think is worth it, they better not give him a title shot right away. They better Gerard him.
Yeah, totally.
That's your best bet because Usman's killing everybody.
Yeah, you're right, man. They really, really need more stars, especially in welterweight. They need guys because sadly, other than Chimaev right now and Covington and obviously Masvidal, not many people really care about the rest of the guys in welterweight because they're not that exciting. Like your Bilal Muhammad's, great fighters, no one really cares, you know. And there's several guys like that. No one's interested, and it's just because the games became so diluted now. The fact is, super talented guys kind of get overlooked. and everybody's just focusing on who can bring in the numbers. Who can look at Chimaev? He just looks like a weird character out of some kind of horror movie, man. You know what I mean? With the scars on his face and the way he talks. So yeah, he's marketable. So they're really banking on him right now. You can tell Dana White is banking on Chimaev because Kamaru Usman, he's a fantastic champion, but he's not that marketable. Not that many people care. Like, he is marketable, sorry, but he's not a superstar status. Like, not everybody's tuning in. There's no casual fans tuning in to watch him.
You know the problem with him?
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
And you look at Charles Oliveira. You look at Izzy. You look at, even Teixeira. You look at Sterling.
Volkanovski. Guys like that.
These guys they care because they're struggling. They struggle to get there. They even now defending their belts, it's still more closer fights. You know what I mean? Like, Usman is destroying everybody. He doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. It's almost towards the end of Anderson Silva's career.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
similar
after that push kick against Vitor, it was like, well, guys, you know what? Look, I just knocked this dude out with the palm of my foot on a push kick. I don't care anymore, and that's why he started getting beat. I think it wasn't fun for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. When you're at the top for that long, it starts. Yeah, look at GSP. Similar thing. He didn't lose, but similar thing. He was burnt out. He was done. Didn't want it anymore.
He was done with fighting. He's like, look, I'm the best. No one can whoop me. I'm not going to continue whooping people I mean, that's really what it came down for GSP. He was beating people to dang near death. GSP Absolutely. Is freaking, like you said earlier, Pride, top two wrestlers of all time.
Definitely.
It's not even close.
And he's not even like he didn't get a scholarship or nothing, didn't wrestle as a kid. He learned later in life. It just goes to show how special GSP is as an athlete. Because, he's not like Matt Hughes and people like that been wrestling when they're little kids. He was different. He had to learn later.
Man, that was a period. That's when I fell in love with fighting, watching the Matt Hugheses and the Newtons and, that wrestling, man. They used to wrestle back then. They slamming. I remember when I think it was Matt Hughes and Newton when Hughes, I think, pounded him out. He had him in a triangle.
Yeah, up against the cage and then
lifting him up.
He passed out and slammed Carlos Newton, and then Matt, he gets up, like Matt Hughes gets up, he goes, "What happened?" And then his coach goes up to him, "Raise your hand."
Don't say nothing. Hey, you know, back in the day when we watching WWE or WWF, whatever, and they both clothesline each other. You got the referee in front of them. 1, 2. That's how it looked, man. They was out. They was both out.
No, it's funny. It's funny how that is. But yeah, guys, the next topic, we're just going to move on. And I want to ask you guys, did you guys catch Josh Taylor versus Catterall? That was last Saturday. The boxing match for all the belts at 140. They done the show in the Hydro Arena in Glasgow, Scotland, my home country. Shout out to Scotland. It was a great fight. It was a fantastic championship bout, but there was a huge robbery that happened. Jack Catterall got robbed in that fight against Josh Taylor, and the whole boxing fraternity from the UK, even in America, everybody's talking about this right now because boxing is notoriously known for being a corrupt sport. We all know that the judges are all corrupt, and the sanctioning bodies are horrible, like the WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, absolute crooks. As the great James Toney said years ago, WBO means WBC, we be crooks. That's what James Toney called them, because it's absolutely true. So I just want to ask you guys, did you catch the bout? And what did you think about the decision?
It is by far the worst decision in the history of boxing. The mere fact that they somehow got it wrong is the equivalent of me having the nerve to come at Ya and look at you in the face and tell Ya the sky is purple.
Yeah.
That is the equivalent of me telling you there's a tornado that's going to hit your state right here, right now, and you are outside at the beach, beautiful weather, not a cloud in sight. The mere fact that they got that wrong, all three judges should be suspended indefinitely. And then as soon as you reinstate them, fire them. Not even close. This is why you need 5 judges. This is why you need 5 for every boxing match. This is why. Because we need to start rooting out who does not know what they're talking about. We need to start. I read an article. One of them said that Taylor was more aggressive. I'm like, in every statistic, he threw less and got hit with more. Where they do that at?
He was just moving forward.
Can we run a like a check? Can we run an audit on their bank accounts? Make sure they're honestly, can we make sure they're not getting paid?
Honestly, bro, like I don't know what's more robbery, that decision, or the fact that they're getting paid for it. Like, let's be honest, this is ridiculous. And this is what I've been telling people. I've been saying this for a while. When it comes to boxing, not only do you need 5 judges, but then you need to review every one of their scorecards, because the mere fact that they can do this, and then guess what? In like 6 months, they'll be able to judge another fight. Like, what is going on here?
You know,
it's horrible.
You know okay, this is the thing. Is there a complete way to fix it?
It's hard. It's hard to.
It is.
In terms of complete, no. But the best thing you can do is minimize it, in all honesty.
Right.
Let's be honest, nothing's ever going to be perfect. You know what I mean? But
and let's be and honestly, you guys, watching boxing and judging boxing from the judging perspective and from the fan perspective, watching boxing, way different back then.
Yep.
Fast forward to today, watching boxing from a fan's perspective, it's different. A lot different for us. However, for the judge's perspective, it is majorly different. And when I say that, dude, do you know how many statistical AI programs are out there that can actually count the punches and get you like live?
Yeah, like CompuBox, like
they use CompuBox, yeah, exactly.
What blows my mind is, so you know how like during the fight they'll put the CompuBox numbers up occasionally. The judges not only have access to those, they get updated every round. So they have that information at their disposal.
There's all this technology. There's so much out there to update you, show you how the heck can you be this bad off?
So true. What do you guys feel about open scoring? Like, I feel open. A lot of people are talking about this, debating about this, but open scoring, as in the judges' scorecards for each round, are on a big screen, so everybody can see it.
Yes,
everybody can see it. Yeah,
you need that. You need that transparency. You need it. You need it, and because on top of that, now, and the reason I personally like it is because now the boxers now know. Okay, what do these judges favor? Do they favor me? Like, you know, if I don't throw as much, but if I'm connected, like, would they prefer me go, let's say 3 for 5 instead of 2 for 8? Like, do they truly matter? Like, you know what I mean?
But I don't want to take away the strategic aspect of the game either, of the sport, because I think that the mere mystery, the mere suspense of not knowing also drives the best out of fighters. Yeah. So I think that maybe we have a halfway point. 12-round fight, you show it at 6. 10-round fight, you show it at 5.
Okay. Which I don't mind that either, because like you said, them not knowing, not only is it suspenseful, but you're still kind of showing. I don't mind if you show it. My thing is, let's just show their names, because I only know dude named Joe Schmo. Yeah, bro. Like, come on. Right? Yeah, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, if I come up to and ask you, hey, if like because this is something we need to talk about. Some of the judges don't know what they're doing. If I go up to a judge and say, hey, listen, I'm fighting someone who's got, you know, a longer reach. How do I beat them? And if they look at me and go, oh, well, play range, you don't know what you're talking about, because if somebody has more range than me, I need to get close. And if a judge is telling me, nah, if a guy has longer range, you know, play the long game and talk. What? Like,
and that's the other thing. That's the other thing, yo. Decades have passed. You know, the sport of boxing to me has grown. A lot of things, you know, a lot of other sports have adapted and grown. And I think it's time to kind of elevate that side of it as well, and for boxing to kind of catch up to the new age. You know, there's this whole, you know, a judge's feeling that whole theory should be thrown out. There shouldn't be, well, this judge judges this way. So how do we have a sanctioned event if this judge judges this way, and this judge judges this way, and this judge judges this way? You know what I mean? Because every judge has their own style. And at the end of the day, as a fighter, you don't know what the heck you're dealing with.
That's true. Because they all go by what they see. It's objective, you know. So I could like a bit more aggression. Maybe Pride likes a bit more defensive counter punching. And Jay, maybe you like pot shotters that move around and they're a bit more aggressive as well. That's the problem with boxing. They allow the judges to have too much of an subjective opinion on it, which should not be allowed. There should be a clear definition of the rules, and that's it. There shouldn't be gray areas. We don't need gray areas. We don't want it. We want a fair fight.
You got the greatest fighter in the world, and he gets in the ring, and this judge is like, no, he's good, all right, but he doesn't throw enough. I don't like him.
Exactly, and that is one of the biggest disparities with all these refs. Like, some of them is like, yo, as long as you're throwing, I don't care if you're hitting. Just throw.
And that's stupid to me.
And then other guys are like, look, you can only throw 8 punches. If your connect percentage is high, then cool. Some refs don't care about jabs. Others are like, if I don't throw a single power punch if you're hitting like it's to the like they need to do what the UFC does, where it's like, okay, power punches matter more than ground control. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just on the ground and just, you know, dry humping a dude, like, look, bro, like, you feel me? Like, this ain't.
Hey, real quick, Pride. You know, Saeed, I want to introduce you to one of our we nominated him as one of our greatest audience members of all time, Damien. And he said money laundering and politics, getting involved, that's the problem why sports like boxing and are rigged and are turning soft. And Damien, I couldn't agree with you more.
Absolutely.
Boxing is bad.
It's really bad. And you know what the worst part about it is, and I think that's why we are where we are at, is because boxing was the most profitable business out there at the time.
Easily. Yep. It was easily.
It was one of the most profitable businesses out. And I think that people like Don King, people like that at the time were eating the sport alive. And then you had the transitional period where guys like De La Hoya were like, you know what? I'm done getting eaten alive. It's my turn to keep people alive. Right. I'm about to eat some people alive to get some money back from the fights that I got beat up in and didn't make the money I was supposed to make. So it was just like a chain reaction. You got the Mayweathers. Then you got people that didn't even want to fight Mayweather because of his situation. So Mayweather had to go and create his own avenue. So there was so much going on in boxing over the last 2 decades that, and let's not, before we go any further, let's not sit here and pretend that Bellator, UFC, Pride, all these other freaking, you know, things that were introduced from the combat sports world, it really took a toll on boxing. It really took a toll on boxing.
Absolutely.
The reason I believe it took a big toll, especially in the early days, like at the time when Don King was finessing Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? And he's basically like destroying the sport. The sport was at, boxing was at this growing point. It was at its peak. So if you have people doing it, it's not that, you're not going to know it at first, right? But the problem was especially this is more for Pride, when they opened and the Yakuza was doing their stuff and people realized what was going on, that's when people really started taking a look at boxing. It was like, hold on, ain't no way you're going to tell me that Pride just started and all of a sudden all these dudes got their hands in it. Like, people started looking back. They started looking back and they were like, hold on, something's not right. And then they started looking and then they saw it and then here we are. You know what I mean?
Right. Real quick. Oops. I'm going to go back to this question too. We missed him earlier. Damien asked, question, if and when McGregor does come back, do you guys think he should be put in the title picture as soon as he comes back, or do you think he should climb his way back up to a title ranking?
That doesn't really matter because the UFC, they're all about money, they're all about pay-per-view buys, and Conor McGregor is the biggest cash cow there is.
Hey, so let's put his comment back up there. What did he say? Money. The first word of his comment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so true.
And here's my thing when it comes to Conor. I think you should give him a title shot. I really do think you should. But not because I'm a Conor fan. It's the only way Conor will understand his time is done. It's the only way Conor will be ready to have that conversation where he's going to look in the mirror and say, boy, I guess I might. Like he needs to have that conversation with himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the best guys on the stick. Let's not get it twisted. But in terms of fighting, let's be honest, bro. Conor been trending down. And I think, like, if he loses to a low-tier guy, his excuse would be, it doesn't matter. I'm not here to fight him. I'm here for the belt. Like, if he doesn't fight for the title, there's always going to be an excuse. So if he fights someone for the title, then he gets double mollywopped to the point that it's like he needs the Khabib 2.0. Like, he needs to just be sitting there like, I bit off way more than I can chew. Like, that's what needs to happen to him. And that's the only way Conor will be ready to have the conversation and go up to Dana and is like, hey, yo, Uncle Dana, I'm not that guy no more. Like, until that happens, bro, Conor's going to be screaming that he wants a title. This is what, like, the 5th time he wanted a title shot? Yeah. Fighting it he's asking for, like, the fight more on Twitter than he has fights in the past couple of years. Like, come on, Conor, I love him. Irish Whiskey, yo, listen, proper 12, it's popping, you feel me? But in the octagon, you ain't popping no more, son. Only thing popping is your leg, dog. That's it, bro. You ain't got it anymore, Conor. You got to take a seat, bro. Especially in the lightweight division where you got a guy like Islam who's been drooling for like a year and a half now.
Islam would kill him.
Islam would kill him. He would lick his chops if they broke.
Like, let's be honest. At this point, they're just like, hey, yo, Islam, please just do something else. We beg of you. We got some super fights we need to take care of. But I promise, like, at this point, Dana White's like, Islam, you can go over. I don't give a shit. Like, you're gonna fight for the title. Just do me this favor. But either that or have just listen. The only way Conor will probably give up is if Islam, Khabib 2.0, gets fed up with the noise and just puts pause on him. Like, because Conor needs a big fight. He needs a big fight, so that way he can begin that conversation. He could look in the mirror and after he loses, be like, man, I ain't that dude no more. Because let's be honest, bro, I love Conor. Feel me? I'm a Conor stan. You know what I mean? Like, listen, that walk he does, I'm walking home right now. I'm doing it right now on my driveway. Swear to God, like I am doing that right now. I love Conor, but you gotta let it go, big dog. He needs to accept that it's the beginning of the end. And he won't accept it until he's on that grand stage and gets dominated. And when he sees that, he's gonna have to.
David said, "You sound like Sheamus from WWE."
Well, I mean, it kind of works because Sheamus is Irish too, so I'll take that.
No, but what's your take on it?
I mean, see, to be honest, I only see a point in McGregor focusing on his trilogy match with Diaz. That's his big fight. That's his chance to show he's still got something. And if he can beat Diaz, go for a title shot. Yeah. But otherwise, I really, like Pride was saying, I think a lot of Conor's fans, or who are fans, they share the same testament as Pride there, where McGregor's kind of past it and is trending down. And that's true. So he's desperate need of a big win against anybody. So I don't think he necessarily has to fight for a belt. I wouldn't let him fight for a belt. But I think the UFC would. They would throw him right into a title fight because that's how they do business. They don't really care about how the fighter is, his health, or nothing. They just fling you into how they can make the most dollars. So personally, I would make Diaz 3, Conor Diaz 3. Other than that, I wouldn't let him fight anybody, even in the top 5 to top 10 in lightweight. I think they've all got his number now. I think everybody's not feared of him. That's the thing. The whole mystique is gone now. You see, where for example,
you're exactly right.
Yeah. The mystique's gone.
For example, what?
Sorry, I was just gonna say. For example, when Diaz and Conor won, now the mystique of McGregor that night and the shock in people's eyes. Yeah, when Conor lost, people were so shocked. They were like, can't believe Diaz choked him out. But all the diehard fans, they always knew, Diaz is phenomenal on the ground. That was going to happen if they went to the ground. But that mystique, and it just got shattered a little bit. And then obviously he built himself back up and went and fought Mayweather. And again, that mystique. People actually thought he was going to beat Mayweather. Some people actually thought he was going to beat him.
You know what? It was just like when Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, same thing.
When Ronda got dropped, was it Holly the first time?
Holly, head kicked her.
Right.
That
when
Holly brutalized by Amanda.
Dude, when her brain went, it was like, and then after that, we started seeing her get dropped, and we were like, oh, well, Holly did it. So you're exactly right. And I think that, on the flip side, if we feel that way, the fighters, they probably feel it 10 times.
Yeah. Just like Pride was saying there 2 seconds ago about Islam Makhachev's licking his lips for a big fight for ages. He would swallow McGregor whole. Honestly, he would swallow him up, man, and spit him back out, because I just don't see him doing well against any of these guys. Like Gaethje would destroy McGregor. Chandler, I think, would beat him too because of his confidence levels. Maybe McGregor should target guys like Tony Ferguson. That would be a good fight for him. Winnable fight.
But do we really want to see that? That's another thing, like what I was saying earlier about Chael Sonnen even, and all those guys. Like I think they stayed way past. They were done. They were done already. And that's what I was saying about Covington. I mean, Covington is, if you lose this, why? Ferguson is different to me. Ferguson never had the same peaks that the guys were talking about, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He's still fighting for that super peak, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
huh?
Oh no, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, say it. What did you?
For me, Conor versus Tony, I like it.
I like it for one time, but there's not a lot of people down there that even makes sense for him after that.
Well, but here's the thing, like, I think once Conor takes that fight, I think the only way he takes is if he truly understands this is it for me. Like, I'll be honest with you, I think that's when he'll take that fight. And if it's a main event, it's gonna be on fight night.
You know what? I'll tell you somebody right now. I'll tell you something, because I don't really like Conor McGregor. I watch his fights. I enjoy watching his fights. I enjoy the guy, but I don't really like Conor McGregor. So I'll give you an example from my point of view, of somebody that I felt that way with. Forrest Griffin after a while. I felt like Forrest Griffin was like, I loved him so much. And I loved him as a fighter so much. And it was after a while, I was like, bro, hang it up. Like you've given us some of the best fights I've ever seen ever.
Bro, him and Stephen Bonner.
Oh my God. Still to this day, I can turn that on right now, grab some popcorn and veg out. You know what I mean? Like, so because the amount of passion that they put in, and after a while, I felt bad for watching Forrest Griffin fights. I was like, the dude's past his prime. He's getting tagged. He's taking punishment for no reason anymore. You know, he's made all the money, especially at that time. He made all the money he was going to make. And I feel that way about Conor almost. You've made all your biggest paydays are gone.
They're behind him. Yeah, you're right.
Your top 3 biggest paydays, it's going to take you 3 fights to meet one of those.
Yep.
To meet the lowest.
Right. Of the top 3 of your biggest paydays.
Yep.
So
like I think at this point, Conor's not fighting for money. I think he's fighting to prove, yo, I'm still a champion. That's what I'm saying.
That's where it gets dangerous.
But a guy but let's be honest, a lot of guys don't care. Like a lot of fighters, like think about it. Chuck Liddell, he wanted to keep going. Dana White had to force him to stay with the UFC. And then when his contract ran out and for that office job, what'd he do? He went to Bellator to fight. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of these guys, the only way they'll learn, it sucks to say this, but we got to treat these guys like old Jello, bring them around back.
Did Chuck learn? No.
Oh, Chuck, yeah, he did?
He didn't.
Yeah, he did, because after
what you talking about after the Bellator?
I'm talking about that.
Yeah. But how many years after?
He went for Tito, after
that's what I'm saying.
Under Golden Boy.
Took a flaming L, and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm done. Like, he was, I'm done. I'm good. Mind you, the whole time he wasn't fighting, he kept saying, yeah, I want to fight. He said mad confident, like he could win. Got put pause on by OT, and all of a sudden, he was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't know what I was
But
doing.
at least it was Tito.
I mean, yeah. But by the way, it's just funny how Tito was running around like he beat a prime Chuck Liddell. I'm like, bro, stop it. In your prime,
but Tito's like 62.
Yeah, he was younger than Chuck.
By what, like 5 years, 7 years?
Those 5 years matter, especially considering during those 5 years, Tito was still active, and Chuck was.
Tito was partying. Tito was heavily partying.
You know, he was doing his stuff, but
he's still partying. He's 60 right now.
He's chilling right now. But it's just a lot of the guys need to take a flaming out. Like another guy who we need to have this conversation with, a guy you guys mentioned, Tony Ferguson. We need to have the conversation about Tony because he still thinks, yo, I can still do it. And it's like, look here, bro, I love you.
But Tony's getting better.
You said what?
I feel like Tony improves in areas in his fights still. I really do. I don't think I'm not saying that he's becoming the best, like a better, like he's gonna be a better. I don't know how to say it. Like,
you think he'll basically
his game is still improving, huh?
You think he'll do a better performance in Conor? Is what you're saying? Like at this point in their career?
Yeah, I still think that he's improving his game personally, like his personal game, versus Conor is not. I don't feel like Conor's improving his fighting game.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree.
Let Conor come out and make Charles Oliveira tap. Let him do that, and I will be here screaming like a maniac, bro.
No, but if he comes out and makes Conor, Charles Oliveira tap, you can't sit here and tell me he didn't improve his game.
No, you're right.
Because before that, he would never make. God,
no,
what?
No, but like I said, man, when it comes to Conor, you have to give him that big fight. You have to. Because when he loses that big fight and understands I can't hang anymore.
Yeah, Tito out there with Jimmy G.
Man, wait, hold on. Didn't Tito Ortiz? He was engaged to Jenna Jameson.
I'm telling you, Tito out there with Jimmy G.
Porn star Jimmy.
Yeah, partying with each other. Tito the one that invited Jimmy. Tito was hey, Jimmy, come over here. I need some help.
But when it comes to Jimmy with you. When it comes to Conor, and I understand this is not going to be a popular take, but you have to put him in a fight like that. You would have to, so that way when he loses, he begins to understand like, either I fight lower guys for some change, or I go home. And I don't think he's doing this for money. I think at this point, it's his pride and his ego saying, I'm still better than everybody. Give him the best, and when he loses, he's going to have that conversation. Like when Chael Sonnen, I think it was Fedor he lost to. I think he lost to Fedor, and Chael was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. And that's what
he should have never fought Fedor. He should have never fought Fedor, period. Man, I don't know who told him. I don't know who told him. I wouldn't fight Fedor right now. I wouldn't fight
Fedor. Huh? Yeah, I would fight Fedor.
Fedor, snap you in 7.
But that's the thing. It only takes 5 for the check to come in. So I'm tapping before Fedor could touch me. What are we doing?
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like Sonnen had no business fighting Fedor at that time. Like Fedor was still whooping he was still putting fear in people from the stands. Like
right, but that's my point. Like you needed to give Chael that fight for Chael himself to understand I'm not that guy anymore. Yeah. And it's forced him to go into the next stage of his life. That's why I'm saying the same thing with Conor. But again, if you want to give it to somebody else, I'm not going to be mad. But you're always going to be hearing Conor. You know what I mean?
I think he said it earlier. The only fight that I really would even okay to see right now if he came back would be Diaz. That's it. After that,
I wouldn't be mad about that.
If you want all the casual fans to care and all the diehards to care about him, you need a fight like that. Yep. Everybody's going to pay attention. Everyone will, because they watched the first 2 fights. They were dog fights, man. So you want this third one. Or let's have some fun. Let's give him Masvidal catch weight. How y'all feeling? Or even
I mean, look, you can do some catch weights.
Because Conor was big.
I can make some catch weight this up. You know what I mean? Because I still think it'll hurt Conor.
That. Well, I mean, at this point, who cares?
Maybe he should fight Jake Paul or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what he should do.
Right.
Now you're onto something. No. I would rather see that. Let's see you go out there and get embarrassed by Jake Paul. Let Jake Paul embarrass you, and then if you say you want to come back to the octagon after that, go ahead. Because I think Jake Paul will put him in a fetal position.
Can we end the show now? Because that was just that offended me.
Hey, at the end of that, let's go ahead and end it like this because it is very late across the pond. So you know what I mean. We definitely appreciate you each and every Thursday joining us over here, chopping it up here on Throwing Hands. But you can go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming on again, Jay and Pride. Thank you very much. And P.S. though, I'm joking about Conor versus Jake. I despise Jake Paul. I would never want to see that fight.
Thank you.
But I would want to see it just to
Jay, do not make me take another sabbatical. Do not make me have to go home again.
But thank you for your time. Thanks for the questions from the viewers. The show's doing good. We're going to keep growing the show for you guys all over the world watching. And we're going to start doing post-fight shows for big fights starting this Saturday. Hopefully, Jay and Pride will be there. Will be great to cover the breakdown leading up. And then I'm going to enjoy doing the post-fight show. So until then, we're the #1 sports show on the internet. And we're the #1 in your hearts. This is Throwing Hands signing off. We're going to see you next Thursday. Peace out, guys. Thank you very much. See you later, man.
Yes, sir.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.